Hi, so I'm going to do a follow-up to my coming out video. Um, and what it is, I've been watching people's accounts of coming out on YouTube, and one thing that I've sort of picked up on is as people are going back through their memories of coming out the first time, there's a lot of negative emotion attached to that. And I sort of like form an opinion that it's a question that it was a highly traumatic situation to be in, and obviously it is, especially when we're coming out to our nearest and dearest, our loved ones, our parents, etc. Um, so yeah, we're putting ourselves on the line, and obviously we don't know what the outcome's going to be. Everyone's got an opinion. It's a very controversial subject. So yeah, we're putting ourselves on the firing line, and being that first experience, I say it's going to be highly traumatic. The consequences obviously could also be catastrophic. So given that sort of situation, I suppose it's very often the case that we put those memories stored in our brain, and they're only recounted as and when it comes up. And as I say, looking back on these YouTube videos of people reliving their accounts of coming out, there's a lot of negative emotion attached to it. That they some really struggle to even recount the situations, let alone sort of like deal with the actual emotions as they're relaying it. And with all things, with regarding negative memories in our past, what we're really looking to actually achieve is forming closure on that. Um, and obviously coming out, we got a lot of negative baggage attached to that. And a lot of us have probably been through bullying of one type or another, with all these derogative names directed at us, chucked at us. And then obviously, we consider ourselves sort of somewhere attached along those lines with those words, being gay or homosexual or whatever else you want to call it. And then obviously when these words are chucked at us, things like queer, puff, homosexual, gay, we've all heard all the words, faggot, and all the rest of the words attached to this being homosexual. And because we have to take ownership of the fact that we are gay, as society would determine it, then all these negative words that are thrown at us, we form our own sort of perceptions around those words. And I say we obviously have to take ownership of the fact that yes, we are gay, and then we got all these other negative attachments attached to these words which are directed at us. And then obviously every single time that we coming out, we are sort of like reliving these the times when these words were directed at us, our interpretations of it, our interpretations of ourselves. And for the gay guy, there's a masculinity attack attached to that as well, and there's a lot to deal with. And in work situations, for example, there may be situations come up where your sexuality is brought into an argument or a situation, and then you got to deal with all those derogative remarks and all those derogative thoughts that you might have about yourself attached to those, and you got to deal with all of that on top of the actual work situation in front of you. And that is so overwhelming that it's probably, it's certainly going to cloud your judgment, certainly going to affect the way that you react to that situation. And what we really need is closure. Closure to the point where we don't have any negative thoughts attached to any of these words that have been directed at us in the past. Closure regarding our first coming out, so that we can recount them without all those negative thoughts and emotions attached to them. And it's a process. For those of us who are privileged to have meaningful relationships, a really straightforward way is to actually recount those, that first coming out, recount our perceptions of all those negative thoughts around these words that have been directed at us. Come to peace with who we are, and be content within our sexuality, I suppose, and within our masculinity. I say the way to do this is one of climatizing, really, and the more that you sort of talk about these things, the more sort of relaxed you become. And every time you recount a situation, especially if it's in a relaxed environment, it helps to take away some of the edge around those thoughts, that, thinking back, etc. And you want to come to a place where things like puff and gay and faggot and homosexual and all of this has no bearing on you whatsoever. And these words don't define us. They only define us if we start fixating on them and thinking it has some kind of bearing on us as people, and it doesn't. These are just purely words. Yes, we're gay. That means that we're attracted to our own sex. That's all it is. And say we need to get to a point where we can recount coming out, so there's no sort of like negative baggage attached to it. Same with all these words, and that way, when we're sort of at peace with it, within ourselves, it's so much easier to handle situations if they unfold in front of us, especially if you're in a place of management in work, because the last thing that you need to be facing is a place of sort of crumbling inside and then having to deal with a work situation on top. It's just not practical at the end of the day. So yeah, it's one of climatizing. The more that we discuss these things, the easier it becomes. And through climatizing and becoming sort of more at peace with ourselves and our thoughts around being gay, and for men, gay men who might have masculinity issues, becoming at peace then within our masculinity, be strong within our masculinity. It all helps to deal with these situations as they present themselves in the future. And as people say on YouTube, coming out, it's an ongoing thing. It's not just one of those things you do once. It's something that you do all the time. And if you do it from a place of peace and calmness, it just makes life so much easier. So hopefully this video has been of help. Please leave comments, and thank you for watching.